You've just been approved for SSDI, but your SSDI journey is just starting because you will at some point have a CDR in the future. So when will that happen? Good question. This video is all about how long you will have to wait before you get to your CDR. If you're ready for this, let's get it started. As you may or may not know, a CDR is a continuing disability review. If you're familiar with this, just keep watching. If you're new to this whole CDR thing, I have a video that covers and breaks down what a CDR is. Link in the description. So for the sake of this video, I'm going to assume that you know what a CDR is so we can keep this party going. Every disability allowance receives what is called a diary date. A diary date is basically the number of years you have to wait before your case comes up for a CDR. This diary date can be found in several places in your case file. The 831, which is the basic snapshot of the decision, is one place. Also, the Disability Determination Explanation, or DDE, is another place that will have the diary date as well. When you request your case file, you'll have this information all there in one nutshell. But in most cases, when you get an allowance decision, you're not going to get a notice mailed to you. The only time that would really happen is if your claim was partially favorable, to explain that the onset date is not the one that you requested. Even though you got allowed, you may not be getting the full favorable allowance. I'll talk about that in another video. Since it's possible you may not get a decision letter because of your allowance, you can ask your local Social Security office claims representative to help you understand what the diary date is once they start getting into the non-medical part of your claim. I don't want to spend more time talking about where to find it because that's really not important. What I want to focus on is how to know how long it takes to get to your CDR. Like I said before, every single favorable SSDI and SSI disability claim gets a diary date. SSA has three main areas of criteria, and they're all based on how permanent or non-permanent your medical conditions are. In other words, a diary is about how likely it is your conditions will improve over time. This is why SSA also calls it a medical diary. The three typical categories for diaries are the MIE, medical improvement expected, the MIP, medical improvement possible, and the MIND diary, which is medical improvement not expected. Let's break each one of these down. The MIE, or the medical improvement expected diary, is a diary given when there is a very good chance the conditions will improve medically. The MIE takes into account things like therapy, the condition itself, the response to therapy, the duration of the condition, and so on. The MIE diary usually lasts for less than 3 years. What happens at the DDSs is the MIE in a lot of cases are referred to as short diaries. The reason why is in the listings, the listing of impairments, the blue book, the conditions may say consider under a disability for 1 year and then reevaluate. So they will give a 1-year diary. That person will be on SSDI for a year, and then the CDR will come up after that year to reevaluate. A good example of this is when a person has certain types of transplants, some types of organ transplants, like a liver or a kidney. They look at it for a year as being under disability, and then the CDR comes up to review and see whether there's been medical improvement. Next is the MIP, or the medical improvement possible diary. This diary is exactly 3 years. The MIP diary is basically saying that this condition or these conditions may improve over time, but there's no real determination on whether that would be the case or not. They're just saying that it is possible for it to improve, but there's no guarantee that it will improve. Most younger people will get a 3-year diary depending upon their medical conditions. The MIP diary is basically saying that conditions or impairments are going to last longer than what the MIE diary can cover, but they may not be as severe as the third category we're going to be dealing with right about now. The MIE Diary is a standard 7-year diary. Now, there are some resources out there that may say that the MIE Diary can actually be 5 years. I can confidently say that the 5-year diary does not exist in the SSA disability verse. And this is why. There is no easy way for the systems of SSA to code a case as a 5-year diary. SSA systems such as ECAT, SSA Net, affectionately known as PCOM, where SSA does a lot of manual inputs, and other mainframe legacy systems that the DDSs use, even the newer ones like DCPS, do not have a selection for a 5-year diary. The system's coding will actually default to 7 years. So I understand what people are saying about the 5-year diary, but there is really no way for SSA to code that as 5 years. It will use 7 years as its standard. The MIE Diary is for conditions that will not improve or are likely to not improve. We're talking about permanent medical conditions. They're chronic, they're progressive, they're irreversible. They can be untreatable conditions. They could be conditions that will not even improve with surgery. We're talking about something that is static and likely not to change. The MIE Diary is also used for people who are older, although that's not always true. It depends on the condition and the length of time with that condition. I need a whole nother video just to deal with MIE criteria because there are 3 categories of criteria within the MIE criteria. So stay tuned for that one. Whatever diary you get, the short diary, the 3-year diary, or the 7-year diary, that determines how long you're going to wait until your CDR comes up. Usually the CDR is triggered and initiated automatically by SSA systems, but sometimes there is a delay in the systems doing that. Just know the diary is the basic time frame that you need to be aware of so that you can be able to know exactly when your diary is going to end and you need to start thinking about the CDR coming down the pike. And then SSA will start sending you those CDR forms. I'll probably deal with that as well in another video. So that will take care of this video dealing with how long you're going to need to wait before your CDR kicks off. That's all I got. I got more videos, as you know. Don't leave me hanging because I'm going to see you on the other side.